Even if that place was a trash dump to me, it should be better for someone like him. Someone with talent. Not that I care anymore. Not that I care at all.
Today I want to talk about a character I absolutely love. A character who steals every scene he's in, who has maybe a handful of episodes of screen time, but leaves an impact impossible to forget. Because behind that confident smile, that dominating presence, that absurd strength, there's something much deeper. A mentality that exposes one of the most painful truths about human nature. What does it mean to prove your worth? To show the world that you matter, that you aren't useless, that despite everything they said about you, everything they believed about you, you are someone. For most people, the answer is simple. Achieve something, build something, become someone. But what if you spend your entire life proving your worth to people who will never acknowledge it? What if every victory is just another reminder of what you will never have? And what if strength becomes the cage you built for yourself? This is the tragedy of Toji Fushiguro, the man who had everything and nothing. The Sorcerer Killer who wasn't a sorcerer. The strongest man in the room who never felt strong enough. Toji Zen'in was born with nothing. Zero cursed energy. In a world where power is everything, where your worth is measured by the technique you inherit, where bloodline determines destiny, he was invisible. The Zen'in clan didn't just reject him, they erased him. They called him a stain on the bloodline, a failure. They looked at this child and decided he was worthless before he could even speak. And here's what most people don't understand about childhood rejection. It doesn't make you stronger. It doesn't build character. It creates a wound that never fully heals, a voice in your head that whispers every day, they were right about you. So Toji did what trauma survivors do. He adapted. He turned his body into a weapon. He pushed past all human limits. He turned his weakness into strength. His lack of cursed energy meant he was invisible to cursed spirits, undetectable to sorcerers. He became the ultimate assassin. But here's the trap. Every achievement was still defined by them. Every victory was measured against their system. He rejected the Zen'in clan, took his wife's name, abandoned everything. But he never stopped trying to prove them wrong. He became the Sorcerer Killer. He took contracts to assassinate the very people who rejected him. And with every kill, he was screaming the same thing. Look at me. See what I can do. I matter. But they never looked. Because he was still playing their game. Still measuring his worth by their standards. Still seeking validation from people who had already decided he was nothing. This is what psychologists call external validation. When your sense of self-worth depends entirely on what others think of you, and it is a prison without walls. After his wife died, Toji fell apart. The only person who saw him as human, who loved him unconditionally, who gave him a reason beyond revenge, was gone. And what did he do? He gambled. He drank. He took assassination contracts for money he would immediately waste. He became the perfect image of a man who doesn't care about anything. But that isn't freedom. That is nihilism. There is a difference. Freedom is choosing what you value. Nihilism is pretending nothing has value because you are terrified of getting hurt again. He sold his own son, Megumi, a child who would inherit the 10 Shadows technique, the power the Zen'in clan worshipped, and Toji sold him to them without hesitation. People call this cold, heartless, monstrous, but I see something else. I see a man so convinced of his own worthlessness that he couldn't imagine being a good father. A man who believed the best thing he could do for his son was to stay away, that Megumi would be better off without him. This is what low self-esteem does. It doesn't just hurt you, it makes you hurt the people who love you, because you don't believe you deserve their love. Then came the contract. Assassinate the Star Plasma Vessel, kill Riko Amanai, stop the merger with Tengen. But that wasn't the real target, not for Toji. The real target was Satoru Gojo, the strongest sorcerer, the Six Eyes, the Limitless, everything the Zen'in clan worshipped, everything Toji would never be. And Toji killed him, stabbed his throat, left him bleeding to death. This should have been his moment, the ultimate proof, the final validation. He had done the impossible, killed the unkillable. But look at his face. There is no joy, no satisfaction, no peace, because that's what happens with external validation. It never works. You can achieve everything, defeat everyone, prove yourself 1,000 times, and it is never enough. The voice in your head that says you are useless, it doesn't care about evidence. Psychologists call this the hedonic treadmill. You keep running, keep achieving, keep proving yourself, but you never actually arrive, because the problem isn't what you did, It's how you see yourself. But Gojo didn't die. He awakened, unlocked the reverse curse technique, became truly untouchable. And when Gojo found him again, Toji didn't run. He didn't hide. He ignored his instincts to flee and chose to fight. Why? He had already completed the contract. He had already been paid. He could have disappeared, lived comfortably, been free. Because it wasn't about the money. It was never about the money. It was about proving something, about validating his entire existence, about showing that he, the man with nothing, could defeat the man with everything. He needed to win, not for survival, not for the reward, but because losing meant they were right. It meant he was worthless. It meant his entire life was a mistake, and he lost. Gojo destroyed him. The gap in their power was absolute, infinite. In his final moments, Gojo asks if he has any last words. Toji implies he has none, but then, thinking of his son, he breaks his silence. He tells Gojo,
2 or 3 years from now, my kid will be sold off to the Zen'in clan. Do what you will with that.
This isn't apathy. This is a dying man trying to save his son the only way he knows how, giving information to the only person strong enough to protect him. It is love, from someone who never learned how to show it. Years later, during the Shibuya incident, a curse technique brings Toji back. A necromancer summons Toji's body information into a vessel, but his instincts, his muscle memory, his heavenly restriction, allow him to overwrite the vessel's soul entirely. And what does he do? He hunts sorcerers. He kills without mercy. He becomes exactly what he always was, a weapon pointed at the Jujutsu world, until he finds Megumi, his son, grown, powerful, everything Toji never was. And Toji asks his name. When Megumi says Fushiguro, Toji smiles, because Megumi didn't take the Zen'in name. He didn't join the clan. He remained a Fushiguro. And then Toji kills himself. He stabs his own head to stop the rampage, ends his own resurrection. His last words, not Zen'in, good for you. This is the only moment in Toji's entire existence where he shows genuine peace, not when he is winning, not when he is proving himself, but when he realizes his son escaped the cycle he never could. His entire life was spent trying to prove his worth to people who didn't matter, and in death, he finally let go. Toji's story is a warning about what happens when your self-worth depends on external validation, when you measure yourself against others, when you let the people who hurt you define who you are. We live in a world obsessed with proving ourselves. Social media highlights, hustle culture, the endless chase for status, wealth, recognition. We are all trying to kill our own Satoru Gojo, trying to defeat the person who represents everything we are not. But here is what Toji teaches us. You can win every battle and still lose the war against yourself. You can achieve everything and feel nothing. You can prove everyone wrong and still believe they were right. The tragedy of Toji Fushiguro isn't that he was weak, it's that he was strong, but he never believed it. He had a heavenly restriction that made him superhuman. He defeated the strongest sorcerer of the modern era. He survived in a world designed to destroy him, but none of that mattered, because he was measuring himself with the wrong ruler. True strength isn't proving you aren't useless. It's knowing you have value, regardless of what anyone thinks. It's choosing your own values instead of accepting theirs. It's building your life on internal validation, not external achievement. Toji Fushiguro died twice, once in battle, once by choice. The first death was inevitable. The second was freedom. He couldn't save himself, but in his final act, he saved his son. And maybe that is the only victory that mattered. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do isn't proving everyone wrong. It's stopping the need to prove anything at all.